So I wanted this lecture to just begin with a verse that is very well known to us, but I feel it is a nice beginning to begin our focus on Lord Nrsimhadev. It is a verse from the fifth chapter of, or the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5:18:8. And it is a verse spoken by Prahlad Maharaj, and I think many of you might know. And if you do, I don't know if we can chant together because of the echoes and things, but we can try. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya.
Namaste Jaste Jase.
Namaste Jaste Jase.
Aviravibhava. Vajranaka. Vajradamstra. Karmasayam. Randaya. 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 One more time. Two times. Tamograsa grasa. Om Swaha. Abhayam. Abhayam. Atmani. Bhuyista. Om Ksro. Thank you very much. So I will go to the translation. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Nrsimhadev, the source of all power. O my Lord, who possesses nails and teeth just like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruitive activity in this material world. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance so that by your mercy we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. Purport. In Srimad Bhagavatam 4:22-39, Sanat Kumar speaks the following words to Maharaj Prithu. Yet pada pangaja palasa vilasa bhaktya karmasayam gratitam udgratyanti santaha tadvan narikta matayo yatayo piruda shruta ganastam aramam bhajavasudevam. Devotees always engaged in the service of the toes of the lotus feet, of the Lord's lotus feet, can very easily become free from hard-knotted desires for fruitive activities. Because this is very difficult, the non-devotees, the jnanis and yogis, cannot stop the waves of sense gratification, although they try to do so. Therefore, you are advised to engage in the devotional service of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. Every living being within this material world has a strong desire to enjoy matter to his fullest satisfaction. For this purpose, the conditioned soul must accept one body after another, and thus his strongly fixed fruitive desires continue. One cannot stop the repetition of birth and death without being completely desireless. Therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami describes pure bhakti, devotional service, as follows. Anyavilasita sunyam jnana karmadhyana anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhakti uttama. C.C. Madhya, 1967. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. Unless one is completely freed of all material desires which are caused by the dense darkness of ignorance, one cannot fully engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, we should always offer our prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev, who killed Hiranyakasipu, the personification of material desire. Hiranya means gold, and Kasipu means a soft cushion or bed. Materialistic persons always desire to make the body comfortable, and for this, they require huge amounts of gold. Thus, Hiranyakasipu was the perfect representative of materialistic life. and he was therefore the cause of great disturbance to the topmost devotee, Prahlad Maharaj, until Lord Nrsingadev killed him. Any devotee aspiring to be free of material desires should offer his respectful obeisances, his respectful prayers to Nrsingadev, as Prahlad Maharaj did in this verse. Hare Krishna. Gormahan, can I see the devotees again? If you take this, yes, thank you. It is nice when there is some personal contact. Yes, I see you all. Very good. Little stretching. Yeah, it's good for health. Yeah, so this verse this prayer to Lord Nrsingadev is praying to the Lord, who possesses nails and teeth just like thunderbolts, to kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruitive activity in this material world. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance. So, at first sight, this verse may appear a little bit fearsome. Are we really sure that we want the Lord to appear in our heart with his nails and teeth like thunderbolts and start killing our demon-like desires for fruitive activity? Are we really sure? Hridayananda Maharaj pointed it out that a devotee appeared before the Lord and prayed before the Lord, "Oh, my Lord, please purify me." Some years later, he appeared again in front of the Lord and said, "Oh, my dear Lord, please purify me softly." Because it's, yes, the Lord going around in our heart and with his thunderbolt nails and teeth may be seen as a little bit intense. But I don't necessarily see that it will be necessary for the Lord to go around our heart slashing all the material desires. The Lord can also simply, by his presence, by just entering into the heart of the devotee, drive out all the influence of Maya. Krishna Surya Sam Maya Hayandakar Yahoita Krishna Tai Nayan Maya Adhikar. Krishna is like the sun and Maya is like darkness. Wherever Krishna is present, there the influence of Maya will automatically disappear. Another verse, Kechit Kevalaya Bhaktya Vasudeva Parayana Agam Dunvanti Karsnena Niharan Yabaskara. That just like fog is driven away like the sun, by the sun, in the same way, one who is completely absorbed in service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, from his heart, automatically all the fog-like influence of ignorance will disappear. So when I see this verse in the context of some other statements of Bhagavatam, it looks to me a little less fearful. It looks a little, or fearsome, sorry. It looks a little less threatening. Lord Nrsingadev is very kind. He is very kind to Prahlad. He is very merciful to his devotee. And it is said that even Prahlad was purified by the touch of the lotus hand of Lord Nrsingadev. When Lord Nrsingadev placed his hand on the head of Prahlad Maharaj, then it is said that whatever influence was still there in Prahlad Maharaj from his birth in a family of Daityas, in a family of demons, was also purified. So at the same time, we see descriptions that before that, Prahlad was a great devotee. We see that Prahlad was pra-alada, prakrista rupena alada, that he was always absorbed in great transcendental bliss. We also see that Prahlad uh, tolerated all the attempts of Hiranyakasipu to kill him without even being disturbed. Not only did Prahlad maintain his focus on the Supreme Lord, but he was totally undisturbed. Uh, when Prahlad was boiled in hot oil, it did not phase him out. Not only did he not burn, but he also did not mentally panic. Uh, I think most of us would go in a state of acute panic under such conditions. When Prahlad was attacked by powerful demons with weapons, again, Prahlad was not intimidated. Prahlad just remained focused in his meditation on the Supreme Lord, and he remained very peaceful internally. Uh, Here, Prahlad then showed that he was completely transcendental to the three modes of material nature. Prahlad showed that he had no attachment to, to this material body in any possible way. Prahlad was not particularly desiring to extend his life in this world beyond the whatever the Supreme Lord was planning. Therefore, Prahlad was not desperately trying. Uh, he was not desperately trying yeah, to save his life and just thinking about that. No, Prahlad is just thinking about the Supreme Lord, and as he desires, whatever whatever will happen according to the Lord's desire, that is perfect. In this way, Prahlad had this internal state of being completely aloof. Um, we cannot match that state because within the heart there is still uh, attachment, attachment to the body, and also some desires for fruitive activity in the material world. We pray for the Lord to take away these desires somehow or other. Uh, we pray for the compassion of the Lord. Um, in Simachalam, the form of Lord Nrsingadev is the form where the Lord is pacified by Prahlad. Um, in Mayapur, the Lord is just in his Ugra Karma form. He has just appeared from the pillar. And he is just very, very angry. But in uh, that anger of Lord Nrsingadev even continued after he had killed Hiranyakasipu. Um, and all the demigods who were also present on the occasion, they could see that overwhelming anger of the Lord. And as a result, they, they felt afraid to approach the Lord, and they kept at a distance. And it was Lord Brahma, who is the most intelligent living being in the entire universe. It is said that the body of Lord Brahma is made of pure intelligence. And Lord Brahma was understanding that the Lord has appeared uh, because he was attracted, he has appeared in this form because he was attracted by, by Prahlad. Therefore, let Prahlad pacify him because we are not going near. So Prahlad went near to the Lord, and Lord Brahma gave him a garland. And Prahlad was ready to garland garland Lord Nrsingadev. And then the Lord placed his lotus hand on Prahlad's head. Prahlad became, and immediately, as Prahlad appeared before the Lord became pacified. All his anger just disappeared, and his whole mood changed, a mood of great affection. So we are praying. We're praying to Lord Nrsingadev, who is the source of all power, who has these Vajra, Danta, Vajranaka, but we're praying to him uh, for his kind compassion upon us and to look upon us kindly and to and then to take away whatever remnants of our previous material conditions are still there as obstacles on the path. In this way, we are worshipping Lord Nrsingadev as Vigna Vinasan, the remover of the obstacles in our heart. Yes, uh, that is, I chose this verse, which is a very nice verse. Uh, I chose this verse because it is the uh, it is the mood in which we will observe Nrsinga Caturdasi. Uh, in during the observance of Nrsinga Caturdasi, we will look particularly for that purification. Um, there are some mantras that are uh, being used in the worship of Lord Nrsingadev uh, that are very strong. And some of these mantras have been published in a little book, which is available in the gift shop in your Simachalam temple. And if you read that book with the Shinga prayers, then there are some that are very strong, right? Mantras that call out for kill, kill, right? I mean, kill the enemies. And is it like, are we really going to sit here and pray, kill, kill? Is that really what we're going to do? Um, the followers of Lord Chaitanya worship Lord Nrsingadev in a slightly different mood. Right? They worship the Lord in his compassionate mood because they focus on the relationship that exists between the Lord and his devotee Prahlad. Uh, Therefore, in worshipping Prahlad Nrsinga, that is very nice. Um, I remember that some had said, how can it be Prahlad Nrsinga? It should be Lakshmi Nrsinga. So no, we're worshipping Nrsingadev in our Sampradaya, particularly through Prahlad. We're worshipping Prahlad Nrsinga because it is through Prahlad that we can attract that compassion of Lord Nrsingadev. Uh, and so, in the mood of Prahlad Maharaj, in a mood of service, in a mood of taking shelter of Lord Nrsingadev, we're approaching him, understanding that we are not like Prahlad, we are only trying to follow in the footsteps of Prahlad. But still, we hope that approaching the Lord in that mood of Prahlad will also awaken his compassion upon us. And that then Lord Nrsingadev will become very gentle and very kind. And this is the form that we are looking at on the altar. I mean, very powerful indeed. Very, very indeed, uh, like a rock. Uh, Lord Nrsingadev, with hard, hard teeth and nails and so on, but at the same time, most compassionate and soft-hearted. After all, the Lord took this particular uh, somewhat ghastly form and conducted this somewhat uh, ghastly, uh, ghastly uh, pastime of ripping out the intestines of Hiranyakasipu and then hanging him around the bloody intestines, hanging them around his neck. That is something uh, very, very intense. Very intense. Oh. So uh, that is something that if you tell, if you show the picture to a first time guest, they may just look at it and say, "Whoa, what is this?" Uh, so there is an image of the Shringadev being very, not only very powerful, but being also uh, extremely uh, violent, um, but not in the relationship with Prahlad Maharaj. Because this whole ghastly form was a manifestation of the anger that the Lord showed when Prahlad was being assaulted. And we can relate to that. At least I can. I also, if I'd see some big people, some big adults attacking a child, yeah, I would also get angry. And I would also feel anger arising. And now that is only a perverted reflection because we're not just speaking about attacking a child, but a devotee. A devotee. Prahlad, who is a devotee and a child, who is therefore uh, and is therefore in a vulnerable position. Uh, but Prahlad was not at all vulnerable. Prahlad, his strength was far greater than the strength of Hiranyakasipu. Uh, Prahlad, his strength was enormous. And that comes out in the confrontation with Hiranyakasipu, because at one point Hiranyakasipu is saying, "Where are you getting your strength?" Uh, I have, he was worried about, he was getting afraid of him. This boy is too powerful, and now he's only a child. Wait till he grows up. Uh, what kind of problem will he not become? And that's why he had decided he should be killed. But then he survived even all that. Okay? And then after he had survived all the attacks upon him, then Hiranyakasipu really became afraid and said, "Where are you getting your strength?" "From the same source as you do, Father." Uh, Lord Vishnu. Vishnu. Then Hiranyakasipu decided to take up the action of killing Prahlad himself and raised his sword. He said, "And where is your Lord?" "He's everywhere. He's everywhere, my Lord." "Oh, everywhere. Is he here? Is he in that pillar?" Huh? I really like it that in the temple room in Simachalam, there is a pillar in the middle of the temple. I'm looking at the pillar right now. You can, I think that it would not have been complete if there was no pillar. Right? I mean, certainly, uh, Germany is a country which is known for construction, and it would have been no problem to make a long concrete beam and just take out that column. And but I'm very happy it's there. Huh? And actually, whenever I see it, it always reminds me of Lord Sringadev coming out of the column. Uh, and it's actually the first time that I'm consciously uh, saying that. Yeah. And that it's sort of been in my mind, but I've never actually expressed it. But today, for the first time, I must express to you that every time I see that pillar, I'm thinking of Lord Nrsingadev coming out of the pillar. So I think it's a very important pillar. Right? And yes, uh, I'm sure that Lord Nrsingadev is in there. Right? There's no doubt about it. So uh, someone is sitting very close to the pillar, just that you know, Lord Nrsingadev is right behind your back. Yes, yes. Anyway, yes, may he show his compassion uh, upon all of us. May Lord Nrsingadev show us uh, his uh, his kind feature, his kind feature, so that we can approach him without fear, abhayam, so that we can become fearless when we appear before him. Uh, and that is is very nice. Uh, yes, uh, these uh, fruitive desires to enjoy the material world, um, they are simply foolish desires. Foolish desires. Foolish desires to enjoy the lower material nature. Uh, we remember the story how Lord Indra had been cursed to become a hog, and that subsequently he was having a whole family, a whole hog wife and hog children, and was living in a mud pool. And that at one point, Lord Brahma felt, Lord Brahma was the one who had cursed Indra. He felt, well, I have punished Indra in such a harsh way, and look at his deplorable existence. Let me now deliver him from this. But when Lord Brahma went there and told Indra, all right, Indra, now you can leave this and now you can return to the heavenly planets. Then the hawk said, but how can I leave? My family is here. Yes, everything is here. So this story is a famous illustration of, of the insignificant material desires, the insignificant desires for fruit of enjoyment that are within our heart, and the foolishness of being attached to these lower pleasures, right? When the attachment to the lower pleasures is denying us to experience the higher pleasure. Um, these very desires for fruitive activity in our heart are the blockades, are the things that block our capacity to actually relish the nectar of pure devotional service, that nectar for which we're always anxious. Uh, So, at least, even although we have the fruitive desires, at least in a spirit of, of transcendental knowledge, of being rooted in transcendental knowledge, we approach the Lord. Maybe we are divided beings. Our intelligence situated in transcendental knowledge, and at the same time, our hearts still attached to fruitive activities. But we go before Lord Nrsingadev, knowing him as most gentle and compassionate with his devotees. And we pray, my dear Lord, we want to overcome these fruitive desires, but uh, somehow or other, they have still remained. Oh, kindly uh, help us and remove these things from our heart. So, in this way, we will approach the pastimes of Lord Nrsingadev. In this way, we will uh, go through many chapters, the chapters that describe how Hiranyakasipu was performing his austerities to become immortal, how Lord Brahma said he could not give what he didn't have, how Hiranyakasipu thought he was very smart and asked for other benedictions, not to die in the day or the night, not inside, not outside, not by any weapon, and so on. And but and then he got that benediction. Then Hiranyakasipu began to terrorize the entire universe. Uh, uh, Meanwhile, Kayadu, the wife of Hiranyakasipu, had had been pregnant while her husband was performing austerities, and uh, and the demigods wanted to kill the child in her womb. But Narada Muni intervened, said, "No, this child is not like his father. This child is a devotee. Do not abort the child." And so he gave shelter to Prahlad's mother, and he instructed the transcendental knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam, and Prahlad absorbed it in the womb. And therefore, from before his birth, Prahlad was fully situated in, in pure devotional service. And therefore, Prahlad, somehow or other, who went to school and was taught by Sanda and Amarka, the sons of Sukracharya, he was somehow or other having this knowledge of devotional service to Vishnu. Which, how was it possible in such a school? Uh, but this is the nature of pure devotional service. It finds its way to the heart and even enters into the world of the demoniac, uh, as it did enter into our families and somehow or other transformed us. So Prahlad also tried to transform his demoniac schoolmates uh, and gave very relevant instructions about the limits, the limitations of material life to his demoniac schoolmates. Then we get the uh, actual confrontation between Prahlad and Hiranyakasipu and so on. And finally, after Hiranyakasipu is killed, Prahlad is offering prayers. Right? And these prayers that Prahlad is offering, they are very, very deep. And generally speaking, we spend substantial time on Singha Caturdasi studying these prayers of Prahlad that he offered to Lord Narasimha. And I'm sure that that will be part of the festival that will be observed, because it is in these prayers of Prahlad that we find the deepest devotional considerations. All right. So in this way, with this talk, I have attempted uh, to set the mood for the upcoming festival, since today is the Adivas day, the day before the actual celebration, uh, before the Utsav, and where we are in great happiness going to glorify the Supreme Lord. And on the Adivas, the thing is that one is thinking about the Sankalpa. What is the goal that we're trying to attain through this Utsav, through this celebration? So therefore, I chose this verse to focus on our Sankalpa on this Adivas day, uh, as to what is the purpose of this glorious celebration of the appearance day of Lord Narasimha. And with that, I'll complete my talk. And if there are any questions, I will happily try to answer a few before we carry on with the order of the day. Yeah, I can hear very well also without.
Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much for the nice lecture. I wanted to ask some small question about the Simadev Lila because I read some confusing information like what exactly are the three births of Jai and Vijay and did they go back to Vaikuntha afterwards?
Uh huh. Yes, Jai and Vijay, right, who were the guards at the gates of Vaikuntha, were cursed by the four Kumaras because Jai and Vijay stopped the four Kumaras from entering through the gates of Vaikuntha, which they considered an inappropriate act, and so they were cursed. And because they were Brahmanas, the Lord upheld that curse, and Jai and Vijay got the choice to take seven births as devotees or three births as demons. So they chose the three births as demons because then they could return quicker to the spiritual world. And so in the first birth, they were Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha. In the second birth, they were Ravana and Kumbhakarna, and in the third birth, they were Shishupal and Dantavraka, who were killed by Krishna. So, and it said that at the end of these three births, yes, they were reinstated in their original position. Yes, yes. Is that enough, or you want some further?
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much. You explained also how Prahlad Maharaj was so much absorbed, so much focused, ne? That even Hiranyakashipu tried to kill him. He was not even disturbed, by all these attempts because he was so much.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what are the practical steps how we can come to that level. Apparently,
Uh,
as you said, he's a pure devotee from the birth. So how can we come there?
yeah. I don't know if we can actually come to that level of Prahlad. Prahlad is one of the 12 Mahajans. He is one of the extraordinary devotees who stands there throughout history um, as like you know as one by his own glory. I think we can just try to follow in the footsteps of Prahlad and try uh, to take this message from Prahlad uh, about taking shelter, uh, taking shelter. We did not become pure devotees in the womb. We were not even pure devotees when we came out of the womb, right? And we are still not pure devotees now, but we may have developed some desire to become a pure devotee. So by looking at Prahlad and praying to Prahlad, we are praying that we may also uh, develop this unalloyed mood of devotional service, that we have only one desire, the shelter of the Supreme Lord, and that even maintaining our body, we don't care about. Although we will do it, because it is our duty. But if the Lord wants to kill us, then yes, go ahead. If you want to end my life, or it's entirely up to you. My whole life is in your hands. We see that the devotees uh, they would live in very simple huts, and there would be snakes in Bengal, and and uh, and they would just leave it up to the Lord. Uh, they would just leave it up to the Lord. So this mood of just ultimate leaving the ultimate result to the Lord, that mood is the mood of a devotee. Um, Srila Prabhupada explains that we should act as if the result of our activity depends on us. And then when we've done everything, then we rely on Krishna for the outcome. And Krishna will decide whatever outcome there will be, and we will accept. But we'll do our best to create the best result under the circumstances. So in this way, we are approaching uh, the Supreme Lord and in a mood of relying on Him, right? Rather than making so many arrangements, to sort of be comfortable, to be protected, to be certain. That was Prahlad just simply relied on Krishna. We also, after we've made all the arrangements to get the most favorable result in the service of Krishna, then as you wish, my Lord, as you wish, as you desire. We are simply dependent on you. That spirit is needed. So I think Prahlad is a giant and we are dwarfs. But at least let the dwarfs try to follow in the footsteps of giant Prahlad. And it's very, very interesting because physically Prahlad is small, right? But Prahlad actually is great. He is the giant. And we may be physically bigger, but we are actually the dwarfs. We are small. We are like the children. And Prahlad is the one who is actually guiding us and protecting us. And we are following in the footsteps of Prahlad. Very careful, like a child is following the example of the parents. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much for this wonderful lecture. Kadamba Maharaj, I would like to ask, may you can please explain a little bit more about the mood of Prahlad Maharaj. You explained also the verses, we should read it and hear it, but maybe you can speak a little bit about it, that we come into the moods.
Well, Prahlad Maharaj is not just a great devotee who always takes shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Prahlad Maharaj is also very, very eager to deliver all the conditioned souls within the universe. And that, of course, is the most wonderful when we think of Prahlad. And Prahlad is explaining that there monam charanti vijane na pararta nista. There are many people who take a transcendental path, and they are following austerities like monavrat, of being silent, right? Or they're wandering into the forest and they perform all types of austerities. But Prahlad Maharaj, Vimumukse, he just wants one thing, and he wants to deliver all those fools, right? All those fools who are wasting their time pursuing fruitive activities in the material world. And that is, of course, the spirit of Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj is a Sankirtan devotee, very much. And that is very, very nice. The verse is very famous. Prayena deva muniyo savimukti kama munam charanti vijanena pararta nista. Naitan Vihaya Kripana Vimumukshayiko Nanyanta Dasya Saranam Brahmato Nupasya. So, uh, and then a prayer that, my dear Lord Nrsingadev, I see that there are many saintly persons indeed, but they're interested only in their own deliverance, not caring for the big cities and towns. They go to the Himalayas or the forest to meditate with vows of silence, Monavrat. They're not interested in delivering others. As for me, however, I do not wish to be liberated alone, leaving aside all these poor fools and rascals. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. Therefore, I wish to bring them back to the shelter at your lotus feet. I think this verse is capturing the mood of Prahlad more than any other verse. That Prahlad is simply interested in delivering all the conditioned souls. Therefore, Prahlad is very close to our hearts because, as followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, uh, this verse is also the predominant mood of the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in this way, um, Prahlad is very close to the Sankirtan devotees and instills the spirit of the Sankirtan devotees. This verse, Prayena Deva Muniyosva Vimuktikama, is a verse that every Sankirtan devotee can memorize and meditate on, because this is the spirit. This is truly the spirit that one has, that one can see. Yes, the essence is pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Let us give it to all those who are somehow or other bewildered. And who are bhukti mukti siddhi kami, who are enjoying sense gratification, who are looking for liberation, or who are trying to attain mystic powers. All these things are simply Hiranyakasipu. He was looking for all three. For bhukti, he was looking for sense gratification, the golden bed, but it said that Hiranyakasipu was also looking to become immortal. So he wanted liberation from birth and death. And then it said Hiranyakasipu wanted also all the mystic perfections. So bhukti, mukti, siddhi. He wanted all three. But it says that can never bring peace. So Prahlad Maharaj wanted to give what is beyond bhukti, mukti, siddhi. He wanted to give bhakti. He wanted to give pure devotional service. Let us also go beyond bhukti, mukti, siddhi, and kami. There's so much confusion in the world. There's so many people who are doing all kinds of things. Yes, some are going to shamans and doing ceremonies. Some are practicing yoga. Some are practicing some sort of meditation. So many things are going on the so-called spiritual path, and so many people are busy with sense gratification. All the bhuktis, all those who enjoy sense gratification, all those who want liberation, all those who want mystic perfection. Let's bring them all to the lotus feet of Krishna, to the shelter of Krishna. Yeah. Thank you. That is the mood of Prahlad. I thank you for your time this morning, and it is nice that at least on the screen I am present with you for a moment, that I can see some of you, although I'm not sure who is sitting next to Govinda Dev. It is Vaijanat. I thought so, but I wasn't sure. Vaijanat Prabhu, my obeisances, it is wonderful that you went all the way there and you're, yeah, now I get you in close up. Very nice to see you. And yes, we have many times been there together on the Shinga Caturdasi, and I appreciate your deep sharing, deep personal realizations about Lord Nrsingadev manifesting in your life on previous Chaturdasis. What can I say? I can see that the mercy of Lord Nrsingadev has brought you all the way there once again. So my misfortune that I'm missing your personal association, but happy to see that you are there. Hare Krishna. Okay.
I wish you were here.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. All right, I'll take leave. I just during this lecture suddenly a little pop-up appeared on my screen with a recommendation for the initiation for Bhaktatomi. So I guess we have to make a plan and see if we can do something. Yeah, we'll have to think about if we can do something about that. But it's very nice. I can, if you allow me, I'll just read the recommendation to you. It takes one moment. Oh, better on the phone, maybe. Where is it now? Send it an email, probably. Yes, here it is. Dear Kadamba Kanana Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. Bhakta Tomi Ritar, is dear to everybody in Simachalam because of his humble, jolly nature and nice service attitude. Always engaged in some activity. 2 weeks ago, he took part in a Sankirtan in Passau, and a Porsche driver slowed down in front of the Harinam group and gave him a €100 note to Bhakta Tomi. We recommend him to be initiated by you. Kainde Mudishadina Akiladas. Okay. All right. Thank you all very much. And Bhakta told me we'll think of some way to make that work. And Hare